Evening, everybody. This is the December 19, 2024 Board of Commissioners for the Newcastle Fire District #1 monthly meeting. I'd like to stand and pledge to the flag. Katie, would you do the honors, please?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence for our departed members and the tragedies in the news lately. Thank you. All right. Attendance, we have 4 out of 5, and we get a 5th later. So correspondence. I see Mr. Carlock next door, our neighbor, had sent a packet of information. And he sent it to me, and it was basically all regarding lighting and the site work and so on. So he's keeping track of that. And last month, he had come to discuss lighting with us, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Anybody else, any other correspondence we want to talk about?
I just want to know what the board's pleasure is with the email from ex-chief Metz that came right before last month's
I would like to
meeting.
discuss that a little further, but I think I'd like to do that in executive session.
Okay.
Any other correspondence that we have to talk about? Okay, thank you. All right, approval of expenditures.
Chief's report.
Yeah. Chief's report. Yep, we skipped over that. Okay. I have not had a chance to thoroughly go over this, but it looks from the initial page, it doesn't look like a whole lot of money was spent this year. Let's see, how many alarms did you report? It looks like 56 alarms between 11:01 and 11:30. So, a lot of alarms. Anybody have any questions? We can certainly pose them by email to the chief, or if he comes in tonight. He's been excused, obviously. Questions? Okay.
Yeah.
I see total expenditures, 1 firefighter training book and flowers for the local police chief's family for a funeral they had. Total expenditures of $321.68. I'd like to get a motion, please.
I make a motion to reimburse the chief's fund for $321.68.
Okay, a second, please.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Okay, so carried. Thank you very much. Approval of minutes. We had a November 21 meeting. Anybody have any comments or questions about those minutes as taken?
I would just request a little more detail, especially when we're talking about the policies, just to list who's doing what policy and what policies are outstanding, because I had to go back and kind of look as to what we were doing. So if we have them in the minutes, it would be easier to find that info.
That kind of makes sense, I think.
Yeah, that could be done. I'd appreciate it.
Okay, going forward, I think we should do that. So we'll all take, going forward, starting, for example, next year or even this month, we'll all take ownership of a few of the policies. We'll go through them. If we have any questions, we can, I mean, now that they're basically done, we'll be able to go through them a lot quicker.
Right,
Going
but have
forward.
them listed in the minutes so we know
Yeah.
who's doing what. Okay.
Makes sense. Makes
Thanks.
good sense.
So let me just ask, so I know I've reviewed a couple of them and sent my comments. So are you going to tell each of us which policies to review?
I'm not gonna tell you which one to review, but I think it would make sense for each of
Yeah.
us to say, oh, I'll do this one, or I'll do that one. So we each pick some and go over them, and this way we know that Ned is looking at this policy, or Nancy's looking at that policy. So we can look at them, we can look at all of them, and it makes sense for all of us to look at them if we have the time. But if you are gonna focus on a particular policy, I think this is what you're thinking of. If you're gonna focus on a particular policy, then we know you're looking at it for like a sanity check to make sure it's still valid and useful.
Right, just say which
At- at-
policies
yeah.
are being.
At
looked
this
at,
point,
who's
I'm
doing-
not sure which have.
That's part of what she's talking about, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Then we know.
Right,
Yeah.
so if it's listed in the minutes, we know
Yeah.
who's doing what policies have been looked at, are being reviewed which ones are still outstanding. I think pretty much we're almost done.
Pretty close. Only one or two left.
Right.
Yeah.
Of the required ones.
Yep. All right, so we can discuss that. And as to who's going to do the remainder, do you have a list of which one have not been?
I do have a
All right,
list.
maybe towards the end of the meeting, we can talk about that.
Yes, we can, or, we could talk about it at the organizational
Yeah,
meeting.
sure.
Because it's also
makes
time
sense.
to review the ones that have
Exactly.
been done.
Yes, we're time flying. Okay, anybody having any questions about the November 21 meeting minutes? Okay, and the minutes, I don't have a copy in front of me, but the minutes from the 16th, yeah, the 16th. I think they were sent out to everybody. Does anybody have any questions or comments about those minutes? With the exception that I overlooked the comment that I made to Carly via email today that we are taking the minutes from the construction manager, project manager, and printing them and putting them in a 3-ring binder so that we have a concise list.
And that started yesterday.
No, it actually started about a week ago.
No,
Yeah,
that binder wasn't in there.
I'm sorry, it was up by the owl. It was up there by the owl. And before that,
I'm here every day.
yeah, and before that, it was up, over, there's a box over on the left. It was up on top of that box. Yeah, so it's been about a week now.
Okay.
Okay, so I thought that was a good idea, Charlie, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, I would just like to
Why did
clarify,
it take so long to come back to me and say an answer?
Well, we can discuss that. We'll discuss it, but that's not the time for, right now is not the time for that. So
Okay.
did you have another comment?
no, we'll do
Okay,
it, that's all.
all right. All right, so anybody have any questions or comments about either of these two sets of minutes, 21st or the 16th? Okay, I'd like to get a motion to either accept them as both
I'll
of
make a
them or
motion, we
one at a
approve the
time.
minutes from 11/21/24 and the 10/16.
Yeah.
12/16, sorry, 12/16/24.
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are we gonna amend it to put the policies that we were discussing in there last month?
I'm sorry. say
Can we
that
put
again.
that, the policies that we discussed last month during this meeting? What policies we were talking about and who was gonna look at certain policies, so we know who's
So-
doing what?
So you want,
I put a note that
You
I'm
did?
amending it.
Okay, thank
so
you.
I didn't understand that. This goes to the 21st?
Yes, it
This-
was
yeah.
noted at the 21st that there were 6 policies, procurement.
So, and it's not in here right now? Oh, okay,
I
sure,
didn't list them.
sure.
I-
Let's,
I
let's,
looked at the
let's amend
list.
to include
Yeah,
that.
And then the
Okay.
ones that people were going to
Going
review
forward.
too. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Complaint was gonna do firearms.
Good.
some
Yeah.
drug
Right.
reviews.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. All right, treasurer's report.
Okay, so the transfers were done, that were part of the 2024 budget, funding the building reserve, the auto reserve, and the trucks reserve. Also, the fund transfer was done so that we are ready to roll for 2025. So along with those, as part of the 2024 budget, the expenses were 359,417 and 2 cents. Did anybody have any questions about that check register?
Yep, this one here, the transaction
Yeah.
list by vendor, okay,
List by vendor.
okay.
Okay, and for the project fund, our expenses were 124,329 and 79 cents. Also, one thing that, we're working on is getting Paul a Chiefs Fund account over at Valley Bank, because he's banking at Citibank now. But since his Chiefs Fund reports are part of our budget, it should really be under our custody, so he's fine with that. He'll be able to sign checks himself. But I do just wanna make sure everyone's understands and is okay with all of that.
As long as you and the chief are on board, makes sense, sure. Thanks. Anything else? Cool.
Oh, should we bring up the JMC thing now or
It's
later?
it's later on the agenda.
Oh, it's in there,
Yeah.
sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
Okay, so, Anybody have any questions or comments about the treasurer's report? Do we have to vote on that to approve it? I guess so, yeah, okay. All right,
I'll make a motion, we
Thank
approve the treasurer's report.
okay, second, please.
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you, so approved. Okay. All right. Committee reports. I'd found two portable radios in one of the apparatus and they were in the wrong chargers, meaning we had two models and they don't fit in all, one model doesn't fit in all the charger bases. So they were individually in the wrong bases and neither of them were charging. I also found one in another apparatus and it was in backwards, so it's a matter of, I guess, a little bit of training. I think what I'm gonna do is put together maybe like a PowerPoint or something showing how the radios go into the chargers so that people can, you know, in the heat of getting out of the truck or getting back on the truck and see exactly how to put the battery and the radio back in the charger with ease. Let's see. So last month, I think it was last month, yeah, we had the siren removed and the telephone pole taken out. And so now that's off the air, out of service right now. I've communicated with the company that did the installation way back when. And going forward, we are going to need a new portable radio once we put the siren back in service to listen to the tones that the county sends out, because right now the radio that's in the box is listening on 46 megahertz. And currently they're broadcasting on 46 and 470 megahertz. So eventually they're going to stop broadcasting on 46 megahertz, and that means we're going to have to go to 470, which means we need a new radio receiver there. So anyway, that's just one other thing, but we don't have to do that right now. It'll be down the road. And I have nothing else. Commissioner Frank.
Okay, so the Con Ed work has been authorized. Our admin has given the go-ahead on that, and our treasurer has paid the bill, so Con Ed is ready to do their work on moving the utility pole across Memorial Drive to get it out of the way. Kyle from Wendell would like to see the roofing shingles. I know they're 22 years old, but colors change over the years, so he would like to get up there and through the attic, of course, and take a look at the shingles. He's going to bring samples, figure out what's the best choice. Due to various delays in getting the approvals from the town, the original substantial amount of work was supposed to be sooner, but now it's going to be sometime in January of 2025.
May I interrupt?
Yeah,
Substantial completion?
yeah, substantial completion.
Okay, so that'll probably be 2026.
Oh, I'm sorry, 23.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, right. So, what else? Oh, now, the bit of arsenic that they found, which is gonna be under where the new driveway to Memorial Drive is going to be, everything that was done when the animal hospital was demolished had the approval of the town. But at this point, it seems prudent for us to remove whatever is there and remains. So that's in progress. It's going to be approved by the town, of course. That's pretty much what's going on. Of course, everybody's seen all the concrete pours. They've seen we're getting ready for the steel work. It's quite a project and, that's pretty much what's going on. I don't know if, I know when we had the meeting with Reddy, he showed this, I don't know if, I have extra copies of this, if anybody, well, I'll leave them here in case anybody would like a hard copy of it. So that's pretty much what's going on.
Okay, you commented about the arsenic, and I'm wondering what's the sense of the board? Because Reddy is looking for our direction to either remove it from the site altogether, or bury it, and I'll be frank, I would just as soon remove it from the site altogether.
Yeah,
It's, as I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the numbers he's proposing, or the consultant is proposing, is about $7,000 to bury it,
yes,
and about $14,000 to remove it from the site altogether and dispose of it off-site. So I think my opinion would be, I would prefer to err on the side of correct, and, being more correct than necessary, mandated, we'll say. So what's the sense of the board? What would we like to do?
yeah, well, so burying it, it would be under a driveway, nothing would probably ever happen. But I would have to agree with you, for $7,000, let's get it over
21,000.
with. An extra 7,000, is that what,
I thought it was 14,000 total.
I
extra?
thought you said 7 and 14 to remove it.
No, it's 7,000 to bury it
Okay,
and 14,000 to remove it from the site. So we can do one of
Oh.
two things.
okay.
So it's either remove
so it's-
or leave.
Yeah, so it's
14,000.
an extra 7,000.
It's an extra
Right.
7,000 to get it.
I say for an extra $7,000.
If we had the money, do we have the money, Katie, we can move around?
Well, I mean, this all remains to be seen, and there's gonna be a lot that unfolds. We just learned about the JMC contract doubling, so I don't know. We do have an extra $500,000 because when the bonds went to market, we received that premium. So there's money, but we just don't know what's gonna unfold in the next year.
Hmm.
So I think,
Well, if he needs to know now, so it can be removed or buried or left on site until it can be buried. And I think for the peace of mind for all neighbors and future firefighters and anybody doing work on the property, I don't know, maybe if they had to dig up the driveway in 20 years because it has a huge crack or a sinkhole, I'd rather it not be there. I'd rather it be safe dirt.
I agree.
So that's my opinion.
I agree, because if there's any potential with it being in the ground, it's gonna cost more.
Exactly.
So get
Down the
rid of
road,
it.
it'll never cost less.
I agree.
Absolutely. So, all right, so, I'd like to make a motion that we tell the project manager that we would like to remove the contaminated arsenic dirt from the site and have it remediated off-site or disposed of off-site.
Agreed.
So
Well,
that's
I'll
my
make that
motion.
motion.
Oh, you can make the motion, okay.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so carried. All right, so, can you mention that to Reddy
I will
tomorrow?
certainly
Or
take
email
care
him
of it.
tonight or something?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll take care of it tomorrow.
all right, do you have anything else to comment on tonight?
No.
Okay, Commissioner Roush, you're up.
No, I've just been working on the boiler. Trying to get it going.
Yeah.
We just found out that there's another substantial cost to it. What, about 4,000?
Yes. Mhm.
So
I
that's
think
it.
before the
Can you just
meeting,
elaborate on what it was, just out of curiosity?
Circulator pump,
Oh,
main circulator pump.
it's how much money?
2,500 for the part.
2,500 for the part, plus labor,
Labor.
plus we had the plumbers and the electricians, so that's what we're estimating right now. It's about $4,000, of which I already talked to Katie, we only have, I don't know, $1,600 left in our budget, so we're gonna have to transfer some funds to cover that expense. And not knowing if anything else is gonna come up, hopefully not.
right. But so I'm curious about how that works in terms of timing. We're, 11 days out from year end. Do we do a budget transfer now? Or do we just see where everything comes out in the wash at the end? of the
No,
year?
do it now because they're gonna come next week,
Yeah,
Yeah.
potentially.
It's gonna be this year.
Do it.
yeah,
The auditors will not close out the year though,
Okay,
until January.
Yeah, they're coming January 17th.
Yeah, so by then.
So we need a resolution and we need to vote on it basically tonight to move, are you comfortable with 4,000 to get to the end of the day?
Well, you said the electrician, the plumber might be additional, or?
Well, I'm including that in there, but I don't know what their cost is, so
Well,
it's
and
29.
what bothers me is labor, because yes, they're estimating what labor could be, but you don't know until you open it, right?
Right.
And you get in there.
So what do you
and-
think?
I mean, well, one of the things I'm concerned with is they may have to drain both boilers because we know there's gonna be a sludge problem
Hmm.
that we've been coming up with continuously, and it's not gonna stop.
And it
So
takes a
until
long
we,
time,
let's
right?
just, it's like while you're in there kind of thing, while you got the hood up, you might as well change the oil and the antifreeze.
So what do you think?
Is 10 a good number? You want 15 to cover yourself?
I don't think 15, I'd say,
You wanna do 10?
10
Yeah,
conservatively, just because we have no money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where you wanna take it from, there's a lot of money left in equipment. Or there's,
We have to talk to the chief about that.
yeah,
what is repairs and maintenance of equipment? What is covered under that?
I don't know specifically, but I would say the chief would be able to answer that better. I would imagine it's, for example, we have a multi-gas detector that failed the other day.
Mhm,
And I think they were going to send it out for repair. Whether or not they're able to fix it, I don't know.
okay,
But it's things that we have to send to our repair
right,
contractor down in Norfolk Plains.
yeah,
So it could be an air pack, it could be
the
flashlights.
LoSAP pension fund was overfunded this year as well, so in theory, you could take it from there,
How much is that?
45,000 surplus there.
And we will not need it.
And you want,
No,
no,
'cause
it's
it's
just
paid.
a one-time
Okay.
payment.
Well, as long as we are not shortchanging anybody in their pension,
no,
I would, is that about the best choice you're coming up with?
I would say that that's okay. I'm just looking at the deficits though, with the life insurance and things like that. Where are you gonna pull those funds from?
I mean, the whole budget has a surplus of
Mhm.
about 142 right now, so like I said, I'm not sure if it's important to move things around right now or just let it fall where it falls. I think, and then we can do the actual at year end.
If the contractors are coming at us with their hands out, we're gonna need to have some money available, so,
This is not about the contractors, this is
Okay.
in the main operating fund.
Yes, it could be paid, but we know that this repair is gonna have to be made, so we know we're gonna need that money in that line. So that, I would think we can make that resolution, move the money from the LoSAP, from the 2% fund, LoSAP fund, into our operating line. And, go from there,
Okay,
okay?
so do we need a resolution? Would you like to make a motion that we do the resolution, so it's ready to go?
Yes,
Transfer the amount of 10,000 from the LoSAC fund to the buildings.
yeah,
One time.
one-time transfer, yeah.
Okay, so who's making that motion? You are?
Well, how much money is left in,
buildings?
yeah,
1,500.
16
all right, so
1,600,
just have that for extra, so
yeah.
Okay, so Nancy, you making the motion, Charlie? you-
Sure, due to unforeseen repairs, I'd like to make a motion, to, transfer an amount of, you wanna do the full $10,000 from the 2024 LoSAP fund, pension line to, buildings to cover the cost of the repairs, that, will be in the amount of about $10,000. That makes sense,
Well, at this point, you're estimating four,
We're-
but we need a little
Yeah.
cushion in case they
Right.
find something else.
right,
Okay, so that's your motion. Second, please.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so carried.
Katie, do you see a difference in the, Con Ed bill with the line that's going over to the site? Is there any difference in the,
I
bills at
haven't
all?
seen a usage change yet,
Okay,
it's minimal so far,
okay,
$45 or something.
okay, just wondering
Yeah.
if there's a substantial amount.
I think what they're using it for right now is a pump. Because of the
Right.
rain and the runoff and so on, they just drop the pump in, they use it until they get down to mud, and then they're done. They turn it off. It doesn't seem like they're running electric or heaters or anything like that really, long term. Okay, so, what's the next step for this resolution?
Brady said he needs 100 amps.
Yes, that's it, that's an upcoming thing, yeah, so we're gonna talk about that. So that's different than what we've got going out there right now. So who creates the resolution and,
I'll just put it in the minutes and
All right.
I'll work with Katie to get.
all right,
the actual
if you need
resolution.
signatures, just let us know and we'll, okay,
No, I don't think so, the minutes.
all right, okay, good enough. All right, anything else, Charlie?
No, just been busy with the furnace
Yeah.
4 days just this week, when we had the days last week.
last week.
Yep,
Getting old.
Is Robeson,
yeah,
their mechanics doing it?
yes.
Did you have a successful conversation with Betty regarding the site access, swipe access or anything, Johnson Controls or somebody else you wanna do? That's under
No,
control?
he's got all the contacts and information.
Sounds good,
I
okay,
gave him all my information.
okay,
I know them for sales,
Yeah.
for the existing. It's up to him if he wants to talk to them about upcoming, you know,
sounds good.
using them for, the new building and upgrading this building.
This
So
one,
that's his decision.
okay,
He's talking to my sales guy.
okay, sounds good. Nothing else? Okay, Commissioner Soldo, you're up.
Yeah, I just have one thing with, as far as uniforms, nothing. Paul hasn't, done anything in the turnout gear, he made one purchase for, 2 sets of, gloves for a member. And that's it, that's all he has for the month.
I don't know when he ordered them, but I saw a bunch of, I thought they were helmets out there, maybe 5
That
or
was
6.
on last month.
Last month? Okay, okay. All right, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, Commissioner Zezzi, you're up.
Well, Charlie said, we've been tied up with the boiler for quite some time. Charlie did do some work in the building here, thank you, today, I know you spent some time here. So that's on house insurance, we're, completely up to date, we're starting to work on the renewals for, LoSAP, we have a couple of people that will be eligible to start collecting next year. New York State Insurance Fund came here on December 11th, and we had another, very, productive meeting. They did work on the, workplace violence policy for us, reviewed it, and I submitted it to the board for review. They're gonna come again next month. They're gonna do another risk assessment with a walkthrough of the entire building again, just to make sure we're covered, but right now we really are in good shape.
Nice.
Medical physicals, as you know, they're complete for 2024. We've scheduled them for 2025, and that mental health station is turning out to be a model for interstate right now. It's being met with great success, and members are taking advantage of the resource that has been provided. And
And they also asked for outside of the, the medical to meet with the person.
yes, yes,
So it's
yes,
got
They'll
more
provide-
beneficial help
yes.
from going outside of the, our physicals.
Interstate, correct. And we're just happy people are taking advantage of that, because there are more people than you realize that want some assistance. Fire department liaison is still working out very well. We have some ideas for next year. And that's my report.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, old business district policy discussion. So, I looked at the most recent policy you sent out, and the only thing I had a question about was not very significant, and I've spoken to you in advance of it, so I'm okay with the way it is right now, and
Which
piece
one is
to it-
that?
the workplace violence.
Okay.
That's the one you sent out most recently, I think.
Yeah.
And everything looked good. So, the next step would be to send it to our legal counsel and ask them to review it and, make sure it's up to their specs and requirements, I guess. And do you want to, in parallel, do you want to send it to the chief to send to the members as preliminary, but this is where we're
Yes,
going with
I
it?
think we should approve it.
Yeah.
And then send it to the attorney for further review.
Right,
And then at the same time, I'll talk to the chief about distributing it to the membership for their review. And if any changes are suggested by the attorney, which I do not think he'd have any, then we can set this in place in January, hopefully, or February.
and add it to the ones we've already approved.
Yes,
Good,
so
okay,
good, thank you.
all right, Any other district policies we want to talk about right now?
Can we take a vote on that one to approve it?
Absolutely, sure, let's do that. Workplace violence, anybody have any questions on that? They want to make any recommendations, concerns? Okay, all right, so, I'd like to get a vote for, approving the workplace violence in its most recent form that Nancy sent out with the one removal, the red line item, and then the multiple blue lines that we're gonna be adding.
And certify our insurance.
Yeah.
company.
As recommended, yeah. So I'd like to get a vote on that. Somebody make a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the amended workplace violence policy for Newcastle Fire District number 1.
Do we have a date on that, by the way? Is there, to correlate these or to keep these, you know,
I
In
can add a date,
control.
I can
Yeah,
add a
so
date
that-
on the bottom.
like
I'll
next
put the
year?
date, actually, there's a section in there, the date that the board approves. it.
Perfect,
We'll
okay.
put it in there.
That will be the date of it,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
All right, anybody want to
I
second
always
that?
add that.
Pardon?
I always add that with the date.
Perfect, okay. When it goes
Okay,
into
so
the
then I
binder,
won't do it,
And then I
Christine
put a
can do it.
footer with.
good.
Okay.
I'd like to get a second on Nancy's, motion, please.
I'll second it.
All right, thank you. All those in favor of approving the workplace violence, say aye. Thank you. All those opposed? Okay, so approved. So will you take that to
Yes.
both the council and the chief?
I'll distribute that.
Okay, thank you very much.
I also distributed the maternity, policy.
I
Everybody have a
have to
chance
be
look
honest,
at
I
it?
didn't look at that one. I didn't look at that one.
Okay, that one's not.
Well, that's just me. I mean, there may be others that have looked at it, so.
Did anybody else take the time to look at
Which
it?
one?
Maternity
Maternity.
policy?
Maternity?
Oh, I think I looked at that.
Do you have any questions or
No.
concerns with it? Okay. I'll be honest, I didn't get to look at that one. I'm sorry.
So you wanna, hold that again till January?
Did you look at it by any chance? You, Mike? Charlie?
I didn't look at that one. no.
Okay.
Okay, so we have to hold that over to January.
Sorry. Okay, please, put that on your agenda, guys, to do that, to look at it.
And it was.
And we'll come back at our next meeting that we can vote on stuff.
It's
gotta be done.
Pregnancy and maternity
Oh,
leave.
pregnancy.
Yeah, It's gotta be done. We gotta get this done.
Okay, so that's gonna
Oh,
be
yeah.
January. Okay, the other one, was, Commissioner Frank did the substance abuse policy. Did everybody take a look at that one?
I think I made a couple of changes on that.
Yeah,
You did.
I remember your email. I had no problem with it, and you caught some things that you liked. So I'm fine with it the way it was, but Ed, you wanna make, changes to it or
No, I think
corrections?
whatever I said, is what I'm good with.
All right, so the policy with Ed's suggestions,
Right, the only thing is you had, the legal definition of reasonable suspicion should be included.
Okay.
You wanna insert that in there? And then you also had, where a member would be transported for testing. We could put something in there as, at a testing facility to be determined, because it used to be Newport Alliance, which is no longer in existence now. There are several others. They come and go and their hours are all different, so, we could put a list together that the chief could have available for the testing, facilities in the area.
That would
Makes sense.
Okay, so we could just insert, at a facility to be determined and, maintain a listing of the facilities that are, in the
it could
area.
be appendix or something to that policy,
Yeah.
maybe, or
Right,
a glossary, whatever you wanna add it to it.
so we could just insert some
Yeah,
generic
yeah.
wording there. If that meets everybody's,
Is that all you wanted to recommend?
That's
Okay.
good.
Okay. So if
what-
you wanna vote on that, with that change, with that stipulation, did you read it, or did anybody else read that policy? You wanna take a vote on it? Looks like you
I
two
think
are
we
the
should get
ones.
it moving.
I looked at it, I didn't see
Sure
that.
it is, okay.
I looked at it, I didn't see anything that I wanted to flag. Ed saw that and we've added that, so I think we're on the right track for it. So, would anybody like to propose that we, vote on this or have a motion to accept it as that?
I make a motion that we, approve the Newcastle Fire District number 1 substance abuse policy with the two, suggested amendments. For, distribution to the chief and the attorney for review.
Okay, that's your motion. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second it.
All right, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, looks like it's approved. So you can take it and run with that, all right?
Okay, and then I think we had the exposure and prevention policy, econ policy.
That was a long one, wasn't it?
That was a long one,
Yeah.
and I know, Ed, you had question on who's qualified to be an incident commander,
I think,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
Okay, do you want to discuss what an incident
yeah,
commander is?
I don't have the specifics in front of me, but I would put money on. It has to be somebody of a level of chief or above that's taken ICS,
Right,
300, 100, 200, 700, all those various things. Because incident command system is what we follow these days.
Yeah.
So,
so there is a level of training that anybody who would be an incident commander would have to be at a certain level to have control of a scene, and the different levels within the command system. Communication, for example, but actually, in this case, control of a scene would be someone with a chief or someone higher than him. But they do have specific training, and they need to know what they're doing in order to be in control of that scene.
and some of
Well,
these
I
are,
think it's first officer on the scene
Right, and then it will bump up.
establishes incident command, and
Right.
then once a chief or higher
Right,
comes on the scene is given to them.
right, it goes to the next
Yeah,
higher,
yeah.
but they are all trained in order to take control of that scene.
and some of these are 2-day courses too, in-person courses, not just online like they
You
used
still
to.
take them online,
You can
you
take some
can.
of them, yeah, and some of them expire nowadays too. So you have to upgrade them or refresh on them.
right. Did anybody else have any questions on that?
I didn't,
No?
it was a long one.
Good. Let's get rid of that one.
All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion
Please
that
do.
we approve the Newcastle Fire District #1 exposure prevention and decontamination policies as distributed to the board. And we'll, once it's approved by the board, I'll send it to the attorney and the
Okay.
chief.
That's Nancy's motion. Anybody want to make a second on that, please?
Seconded.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so carried. You got some work ahead of you, a little bit.
No, I just want, let's get them done.
Yeah, no,
Um, okay. Mike, did you do the firearms policy?
I did, I just reviewed it quick. I'd like to discuss that later, but
Okay.
I think we're having a regular session.
Okay,
I just have a couple of
Okay,
things,
all right. Okay, so any more on policies? Okay,
The only thing I'd say,
Yeah.
I've lost track of, what we've approved, what we haven't. If we could have a list of what remains, I'd appreciate that.
that would be helpful. Okay, so once we, I guess, Christine or maybe Nancy, the policies that you've sent to the chief that we've approved, can you just resend a link to them or send them to us if it's not too big? Yes, there's 2 separate ones, and now there'll be a third
Once
to be
these are
included, yeah, once they get approved.
right.
So if you can send that out to us, just as a refresher, okay, good, starting off the new year correctly. Okay, project,
I will put it all in the reorg.
fine, let's do that, fine. Okay, project update, Ed, you wanna start off?
Oh, I thought we.
We
already
talked
did
about
that.
it, but is there any more? I mean, it's part of the agenda here.
No, I'll talk to Reddy about what we discussed.
Okay.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought was real good and he has gotten some testing results back from some of the concrete. You pointed it out. I believe it was you. That the concrete is firming up very well, actually better than they had expected, I guess.
Right.
So that allows them to go forward and pour more concrete of that mix, I guess they call it. So it looks like the stuff that they've been pouring is gonna be solid and they're not gonna have to add additives, at least not yet. So it looks like
It's gonna get very cold over the
it
weekend.
over the weekend, but I don't think they're pouring again tomorrow, but I think over the weekend by then it'll be firmed up, I think.
Oh, yeah, it'd be good
So
by
it'll be-
then, but
yeah,
if they pour again Monday.
Yeah, well, they may have to put some blankets on it or something, but right now, things are looking pretty good. They're making pours and everything looks like it's coming out pretty well.
Looks good.
Yeah, it's really starting to look like the plans. Starting to look good. Okay. Anything else? Anybody want to make comments about? Okay. One thing I did point out to Reddy the other day, and he took care of it right away, is I saw one panel of the screening out there that had clips to the adjacent panels, but they're supposed to have 2 clips, one above the other. So the one panel I noticed was kind of blowing back and forth. So he went over there and I think they wired them up or something like that, or they put the clips where they should have been. But anyway, that's been taken care of. It was over a little bit past the transformer over there. And he's doing a real good job keeping us updated with the,
Yeah.
daily updates, and that's really good.
Well, actually, on that subject, we talked about it on Monday, printing all that information and putting them in a binder.
Yeah.
So we have those daily, I mean, he's doing all the work,
Yeah,
the minutes and
yeah.
everything, so we have those daily reports. We have the, Monday, contractor meeting
Mhm.
minutes. We have the OACM meeting minutes, and then we have the reports from JMC.
Yep.
That are coming in. So I know we talked about printing them, and I think that was the purpose of getting the printer over here too. I would just like to request one person print those off monthly, weekly, however they are, and keep them in a binder here. Maybe Christine, you can do that. So we have them in the office instead of having you do some, this person do some, this way we know there's a point of contact. They're printed, they're already done. They just have to be, I mean, they're already done. They just have to be printed and filed. But
I'm,
this way the records are all consistent, they're kept in one place, and, you know, we have a hard copy of it.
the only thing I'm questioning right now, and it's not a big deal, is the JMC, which we'll talk about further in a couple of minutes. I saw 3 different JMC things. Actually, no, I think I saw, yeah, I saw 3 tonight, and then when I got here, there was yet another one. So there were 3 from 2015, 16, 17, and then one from 2024, and it's
That's what I'm
getting a
saying,
lot,
whatever,
yeah.
you know, the ones that are numbered, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that they send weekly, those are the reports I was referring to.
Okay, well, you commented about JMC, I'm talking about that specifically, because there was a lot of them, all of a sudden they were coming up and,
You know, their weekly report, this way we have it.
but
It's-
you're talking about a different report, not the
Yeah,
JMC
no.
report.
That's not
It's
a
an
report.
environmental
Yeah,
report.
this is a contract.
Yeah,
This is a contract,
You
that's what I
know,
was
the
talking about.
weekly report that they do, for.
That shouldn't be hard. I think, Christine, I get here often, so maybe I can help you offload that, some of that. If you get here, okay, so that's fine. I mean, you know, I can't imagine, and they're online? Do you have most of them online?
Yeah,
I
and
have
just-
them, yeah, in the Dropbox and on here.
Okay,
The
All right.
weekly minutes and OACM are on the website,
all
but.
right.
the
All right, well,
dailies are not.
we'll
That's what
strive,
I suggested.
we'll strive to get some of these printed out.
We should have them all printed
Well, we'll
out.
see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. I mean, Reddy has them, JMC has them, Christine has them.
I
They're
know,
all
I-
on the
I
web.
save them to
And
the
she has in the
and
Dropbox, so they're there,
I think it's.
and they're on the web. So,
Well, my opinion is I'd just like to have a copy in the office.
I understand, I
You know,
understand.
'cause so we don't run
It's-
into a situation like we had before.
Part of the
trying to
problem,
find
and I'm
that.
not arguing with you, part of the problem is we're running out of space.
Well, we
And
could
we're
get
gonna-
another file cabinet. I mean, that's why, take the old files that are in there. I'm not looking for an
I'm sure
argument.
there's
Yeah, no,
stuff we can archive.
You're right,
Yeah,
we
no
could
doubt
do
about it,
that,
no doubt.
and then just,
So the fact
literally,
that
it
there's
takes
no
2
room is
seconds,
not-
and then just put them in there. It doesn't take long at all. I would prefer that be there. That was one of the points in the email that we're gonna discuss later, is looking for the records. So I prefer to have a hard cut, it takes 2 seconds each.
That was before we had a cloud-based solution though.
I'm just saying, I would
Mhm.
prefer to have a copy in there.
Okay, well, I don't have a real strong opinion either way. I'm not even gonna. I don't know what to say, I don't have an opinion.
That's my
That's,
request.
yeah, that's your opinion and request, I guess, so we'll have to see how that plays out. I am doing, I've been doing them since. I forget if it was last Saturday or Sunday, I forget, I've been starting to copy some of the daily things, and I've gone back to October or November, early November, I think it was. November 1st, I forget what the earliest
But
one
that's
is
my
in there.
point, is one person should be doing it, so
Okay.
it's done at each week or month, whatever, and it's in there.
It should
That's
be weekly.
weekly, right, so it should be in there. So,
Okay, well. Let me put it back in your ball court then. Christine has them. They're on the website. Katie has them. We all have them. Would you take it on as a printing job for you?
no, I
And I
think the
will accommodate
secretary
that.
should do it.
I will help
really
you
do.
accommodate.
No, I think just, you know what, it's official records, we're
Yeah.
paying for it, so I think they should just take 2 minutes, print them and put them in the office, that's all. I mean, I have them myself, but what if Mr. Carlock comes in and wants to see a copy?
Then we print it out for them.
That's correct,
It's
so
on
if
the
they're
wall.
already in there, you know.
Yeah, we can email, sure. There's multiple ways to do it.
Right, I'm just saying, I think that's a better way of doing it at this point, since we've ran into a problem before, a couple of weeks ago. Now, that's me, if
Mhm.
everybody else is fine with it, then that's,
I'm,
you know,
like I say, I'm on the fence. I see the convenience of being able to go open a book and look to a particular thing. I see that convenience. I also see that we all have smartphones, we have laptops, we can open it up and we just go to the website and it's there. And if we want to print it, there's the printer. So I don't want to take a stand on this really. If somebody wants to propose something, I know Christine is not here every single day. She doesn't even live in town. So, you know, it's kind of a burden for
That's
her
why
to
I
have to
said
come and
once a
do it.
week.
Yeah, once a week, or once a month, doesn't matter, once a month, take a half an hour. and
As
do it.
you, okay, well, why don't we take this offline and we'll see if we can come up to with a solution. So project update, Charlie, you brought up a good point. Reddy is talking that the electrician needs to have some power going forward. And, they're going to need approximately 100 amps in multiple circuits. And they're gonna try and take it out of one of the breaker panels in the building here.
You're talking about the chief's storage,
Right, by the fire alarm system. When they were here,
which isn't gonna work,
right.
because
I don't
that's
think
the
so.
center of the building,
Yeah,
and they're not gonna run wires across the floors
no,
and everything
sir,
else.
no, sir, no, sir.
they went through the building thoroughly on Wednesday.
And what was their outcome? I
Wednesday or
wasn't here.
Tuesday. They took all the information that they needed and
Mhm.
they were going to regroup and figure out what they needed to do.
Okay,
They did say more than likely they were gonna need access to that panel, the chief's closet, but to be determined
Yeah.
and brought back to the board.
chief's closet, you mean the one between the upper and lower bays?
Yes,
How
Interesting.
big of a panel is he having there? In that closet?
There's
It's not
panels,
big, it's
there's panel
access.
outside, is that the one you're talking about? The panels outside the chief's closet?
no, they wanna go up through there to get outside of the building,
Wow.
but
That's in the
to be
interior room.
determined.
Okay, well, keep us
Yeah.
informed, but that's
And
that's
that's our
something. coming up.
sprinkler system in there,
And the
That's the
fire,
alarm,
yeah,
fire alarm system.
right,
fire alarm and
Yeah.
fire
sprinkler.
alarm.
So if they start messing with that,
Yeah, they're all sprinkled.
if there's a big draw.
Yeah, it's not a good thing, right,
No.
right. I was under the impression they were coming
100
here.
amps,
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I was thinking they were gonna come down to our main panel here.
They did, they went through everything, so that was,
Okay.
that was the
Oh,
point of,
that's
discussion
All right.
on Tuesday or Wednesday,
All
whenever.
right.
I think any of the outside outlets, they were getting 60 amps.
They're good for 15 or 20 most.
Well, they think combined.
Oh, okay, all right, different, so each, I guess
Each
different ones in
different-
different circuits.
Yeah, so we got, don't forget, we have 4 out there.
Yeah.
We got 4 up by the hydrant.
Yeah.
We got 2 out under the stairs
I
outside.
had 2 over at the end of the wall there. But
Two-
then, I mean, that's running wires across the.
I mean, that's how they're coming up with amps.
I was under the impression they were gonna try and come, for example, there's a hatch over here to go down in the basement, used to be a stairwell.
Yeah,
I thought they'd take power from the breaker panel over here, someplace, available power, bring it out through a conduit or something, up and over, maybe over the stairs or something like that, and then drape it down.
what
into
are
the
our main
building.
circuits? 100 and
Oh,
200
there-
amps.
I don't, there's multiple circuits. There's the old
I know
building
there's a
here.
lot.
There's one downstairs at the foot of the stairs. There's new ones over here that were put in when the new building was installed.
I
the
know,
79
but
building. I
what's,
don't know.
what's coming into the building?
We'd have to talk to the electrician and see what it says. I mean, the main breaker will tell us. you
Yeah.
know, But I don't know what they all add up
I
to.
don't know if it's 100 or 200.
Well, it's gotta be closer to 200 because there's multiples there. And then one panel over there, it's got 40 breakers, 50 breakers in it. It's huge. But, all right, well.
But
we'll have to
also, I
see
don't
what
know
they
how
say.
it's been split, because
Yeah.
if you wanna think about just this building back in 1950,
Yeah.
they probably ran one
I don't know.
one line to it at 100 amps.
That's
And that was probably more than enough to power this
Oh,
building.
the generator that was down here, right below where we're sitting right now. It couldn't supply power for the entire building. So, you know, we had to shed loads. I mean, certain things did not come on when there was a power failure. And it would power up what it could, but that was it. And then with a new generator, it now takes care of the whole building, which is great. Okay, so you'll keep us informed as to what they plan to do
Yeah.
with routing of cables and such?
They're right in Briarcliff, so they
Oh, good.
will be making multiple stops.
All right, good,
I
good.
mean, could they boost voltage to make up the lack of amps?
Where would
No.
they do that? I mean, we've got a transformer out there, but that's
the voltage is
an area
50%.
transformer. And it supplies basically 120, 208, 440 to industry in this little area here. So I don't know where they would boost the power because you certainly can't. I mean, they're looking for power for saws and maybe something to bend rebar
Yeah,
or
that's
something
all
like that. I'm
120.
assuming lights, maybe a heater when it gets cold. So I don't know that they're looking for big power. I think they're talking about 120 volts, 20 amps here, 20 amps there.
Yeah, but sometimes you can increase voltage to make up for the lack of amperage.
If you have a long run, but I don't think we're gonna have that, a long of a run from here to the new building, I don't think. But that's the electrician to make that call, that's not up to us. Okay, anything else on the project, Ed, or anybody wanna talk about? I mean, besides the great work that they've been doing, all the concrete they're pouring and the form work and so on, it's looking good, really starting to look like something out there. Okay, new business? Congratulations, Charles. The 2024 annual Newcastle Fire District #1 election results are, Commissioner Rouse.
5-year term expiring 12/31/29.
very nice, okay.
Congratulations.
Okay, item number B, we're going to have to schedule an annual organizational meeting in 2025. And I looked at the calendar a little while ago, and does anybody have a problem with the 2nd of January? Start off early in the year?
No.
You wanna put that
What day
down?
is it?
It's
Thursday.
Thursday?
Thursday,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, it should be all right.
Right. And what time is good for everybody? 5:30, 6 o'clock, 7, 6:30, 6:30?
Well, are there other meetings later?
We have a departmental meeting that night,
You
so I'd
wanna
like
do
to get,
earlier?
well, I'm not gonna say earlier than 6, but, we have a 7:30 meeting at the fire department. So, I'd like to make it our, 6 would be good for us, because then we can conduct all our business and go into the, let's do that. You're good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have to vote on that, we just
No,
schedule
I'll
it.
just put the notes together.
Yeah, so is that okay with you and Katie over there? Okay. Is everybody okay with 6 o'clock on the 2nd, January for org meeting?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, next item is, item C, authorize the chairman to execute the agreement with JMC Planning, Engineering, Architecture, and Land Surveying LLC. Now, I don't know if everybody saw it, but there was a 2018 version, I'm sorry, a 2024, December 19. And I had not had that one. I had an older version.
We just like to the newest version for them.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was 17th and the current version is the 18th. So this is the one we're talking about. So basically, some of these things that JMC, site planning, civil engineering, landscape architecture, land surveying, et cetera, engineering company. Some of these things they've been doing since the last time their contract was ratified, which I believe was in 2017, maybe 2018, something like that. With some previous commissioners. So their prices are a little bit high right now. Katie, I'm gonna ask you to give us a little bit of an overview of that, but some of this stuff they've already done. So we kind of owe them some money, as I understand it, right?
No, I wouldn't look at it that way. So, the master budget that Triton put together, or I guess it was Wendell who put it together, had, for JMC, $145,850. But we're pressing up against that, already. So that's kind of what started the conversation. I was like, I have a contract for Triton and for Wendell, but I didn't have the one for JMC, so he realized it needed to be revised anyway, given it hadn't been signed for a while and it was honestly outdated.
Yeah.
So this current one is for $283,270.
That's like double.
Yeah.
It's nearly double. So that's still part of the budget. The fact that they've already spent half of it doesn't change the fact that it's budget doubled.
What was the amount
Did we
allocated
expect
for them?
this?
$145,850.
Was this expected?
No, it was unexpected.
How could it be unexpected?
So it's kind
It's
of,
a $250,000, over $250,000.
Well,
it's
I
kind
mean,
of,
there was already 145 in it,
Right.
so it's call it another 130,000,
And this is because the contract expired?
No, it's just that it was really out of date. And JMC ended up doing a lot more than they were ever expected to or intended to, and I don't know, you could call Triton
Is
out
that
on it.
nobody was overseeing what they were doing? So they were just doing it and charging us?
That I don't have the answer for.
Well, since the last one that I saw was 2017, I didn't print it out. The first one I started printing was 2015. And, you know, it was signed and, you know, ratified and all that stuff back in the day. But I don't think he proposed any of these budgets to us in the last
So they put a
Years.
contract out from 2015 and they still think it's
2018.
valid,
2018 was the last one that I saw, I believe, or maybe 19.
and it's still valid? There's no expiration
That's
date?
what I was
on
gonna
it?
say, is there an
But-
expiration date on that?
I didn't read that. I didn't see that here. This just came to me today, this particular one.
And Kevin's response was JMC was hired years before Triton to help get the town approvals. They have now taken on additional roles, including SWPPP engineering, and is a consultant between the fire district and the town.
They've also done NYS DOT permitting, construction administration.
But you just
Stuff
don't
like
start doing work based on a 2018
I,
contract.
I think it was an oversight on everybody's part. I don't think he realized that he was doing these things without an active contract. And it just came up like a week ago or something, Katie? Something like that? They
Yeah.
proposed, hey,
I think you should halt all payments regarding this contract.
That's
It,
up to you guys.
you just can't like assume to do work and just say, now you got, I did the work, now you gotta pay me, and nobody knew you were doing the work.
Like the work started. I
Huh?
can't get it. No, it seems like they did this because the work's already started and they think they can just say, well, they need us now. And
It needs to be communicated.
I know, I agree.
I agree 100%. And my other question is what other contracts or what other work is being done out there that the district isn't aware of at this point? You know, we need to know everything because
And
another $150,000, we don't have all this money.
And I think we need to review this with either Kevin or Reddy
well,
and say, what things are critical that we need and what things don't we need, right? Because there could be a lot of fluff built in here,
I don't disagree.
right?
Um,
We don't know what this stuff is,
Lynn, our
or at least I
council,
don't.
has looked at this and she said she wants to review it. She didn't have
Could she
time to look
review it
at
with Kevin?
it. Well,
Cause in
this
case
is,
there's language in there she doesn't
she has
understand.
to review it. She didn't have time to do it, but this was sent out today. So I guess we're all caught in the dark or by surprise on this one. So I don't wanna sign anything until she has a chance to review it. But at the same time, I think we have to hold our vendors, like JMC and so on, to a tighter rein and let them know that they just can't go off doing things, even though, hey, it sounds great, okay, I did that, okay, I did that. That's great, but where's this money coming from? I was unaware that he wasn't under contract. And then when he started sending out these other things from 2015, 17, 18, 19, whatever, then I started realizing that they didn't have one since then till now. So obviously prices have gone up, and I'm not arguing for it. I'm just saying the reality is,
And their scope changed as well.
yeah, they've started doing more and I guess we're unaware that this was costing more and now
But
they've
shouldn't
started
they
putting
let
numbers
us know,
down.
like, prior to the start of construction that, listen, we're just gonna inform you that once work gets started, you're gonna need A, B, C, and D, and it's gonna cost additional.
And that would
They
have
never
been,
did that.
that would have been very nice to have had. Absolutely.
Well, we should have that, plus this is tax money.
Sure,
We are
no argument,
accountable,
no
so something
argument.
like this definitely has to be questioned. Not authorized and they did the work. I'm not saying they didn't have, the work didn't have to be done, but it wasn't authorized by the board.
Well, I'm not so sure I would go that far. I would say that he has been giving us updates periodically. And we have just been under the assumption that his periodic bills to date have been paying for those things that he's been doing. But apparently there's yet more that he has done and hasn't maybe billed us for it. Maybe what we need to do before we even think about signing anything is have a Zoom or have him come here and explain it to us at our next meeting or have a meeting specifically for this. Because this is just too much money to say, oh yeah, sure, we'll sign off on it. Can't do it. Can't do
No,
it.
and it goes back to accountability. Who
Absolutely.
oversees the work that's being done and who determines what's necessary I mean, we can't make that
That's a
determination.
project manager.
Question is too, who put together that budget? And it's my understanding it was Kyle, it went down, Kyle said it wasn't me.
It was probably Bob.
I guess it was Bob, but
I think it's
honestly,
Bob and
it's out of date,
Yeah,
which is,
Right, which doesn't cut it for us at this
No,
point.
not at all.
So, you know, we have to answer for this amount of money, which we don't have.
Well, the good thing is it's not, well, correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't sound like he's coming, asking for a $200,000 check right now. So it's little dribs and drabs, right?
right, he
Okay.
bills us monthly.
Yeah, all right, so
This is projected, you know.
for the job.
Well, he's
And-
got weekly observation, he has 60 weeks.
Well, that's
Yeah.
until the end of the project. You know,
I
that's
know,
good,
but he's
yeah.
looking like, he's got a clause in us till the end.
They have to. that's
Well, and by
the
town
requirement.
requires, supervision. So, and he's the expert in this, or some of them are the expert. So I think what we need to do is get clarity on this. I would suggest that we have a meeting, ask him to attend or have him come in via Zoom and, let us beat him up a little bit for answers.
I don't know what to ask.
Well, how is this,
How are we
how
gonna
is this
beat him
happen?
up?
How did this happen? That's the first question. How did this happen without us knowing in advance? Maybe the previous boards knew about it, but as Katie said, some of these numbers are outdated. They were back in 2015 and we know everything's gone up since then. So, we're.
Well, that's the
we're aware.
question is, where's the oversight on this? If the last
That's-
contract was 2019, then what's happened each year subsequent to that?
And
Who's
he's been
looking at
in
this?
budget meetings, right? He's been on the Zoom when we were talking about the budget. Well, why didn't he say, where's my line item?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Triton's.
Well, my line
logo
item
on-
is too
Triton's
low.
logo is on the master budget and,
So
they should
their own
be
fault.
held accountable in my opinion.
Triton,
Or, yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Who's overseeing this? And if it's Triton, then we need to speak with them. 'cause this
Triton
is
is,
unacceptable.
since we hired Triton, but we hired them in 2023
three.
or so. So,
Then
they're
who made the decisions in 2019? The board with Lynn or?
the board,
With
the board, I
Bob?
think Lynn was on for
Mhm.
all these years, Bob's for sure. The prior commissioners that were here, the last 4 commissioners that were chair people. Not the,
one
not the
side
most
by
recent,
John Buckley.
yeah, John, Chris. Um,
Yeah,
Eric.
so this needs to be,
Anthony.
questioned and we need to find out,
Yeah,
why this occurred. Number one, that's an internal record keeping thing, because we cannot have it happen
Yeah.
going forward.
no way.
And yeah, how long is this for?
It's for the end of the project, till the end.
To the end of the
yeah.
project?
Because at one of the line items at the very end of one of the pages here, like 4th page from the end, I think, is, where is it? No, I don't see it here, and all of a sudden, it's a, as-built drawings, if needed. I saw it there someplace, maybe on a
So I
previous
don't
one.
know why that would
Oh,
be
as built is
I
required,
mean,
yeah.
Well, that's just so that we have a record, a blueprint record,
The town
as it's
requires
been built.
those at the final.
They do.
Maybe, I'm not sure if we do or not, but basically it shows where every electrical outlet is
We
and the
know what it
light
is,
switch and
I
the.
know. Yeah, I
All
mean,
that stuff.
we have an architectural plan, we can say this is what happened.
As built are required to close up the building permit typically.
You think so? Yeah, okay. All right, so some of these things. Prices have gone up, so I'm not condoning this. it's
Right,
just
let
a
me
fact.
say this, you know that, Joe has been taking care of NYS DOT. We were at the meeting, he
Yep.
appeared before the planning board.
Multiple
He
times,
gave, presentation. I mean, this has been ongoing
Sure.
for years.
sure.
So he can talk for whatever else,
Yeah.
I know the site plans and everything else that he's been working on. But I can't talk for him, but you were there, I was there before the planning board, it's been going on for years.
Yeah. So some of these things, like you mentioned, have been undoubtedly paid for because it was months and months and months ago. So I think what this number, the 283K is talking about is for ongoing expenses till completion of the job. Is that what you understand it, Katie?
Yes.
Okay,
And we
so-
already paid them 131,000.
But we're shy, or the budget is shy
Right,
of
but
hundred and
What,
fifty.
what I'm thinking is 131,000 from the time they started this project years and years ago. And now all of a sudden, from now to the completion, it's another $130,000.
And that's somewhere where I could get some clarity with him too. Again, we just got this today. I can ask him, okay, well, according to my books, we paid you 132,000. How much of that is part of this budget? Like, what do you think you're gonna spend over and above that, you know?
Well,
That makes sense.
And was
Because
that,
it's possible, this QuickBooks only goes back to like 2019, so if some of his expenses are going back further than our books, and then it's already been spent, maybe the damage isn't as bad as what I understand it.
Well, can you get with him and or Bob Mitchell to kind of reconcile where we are and what this bottom line number at the end of the thing is
Sure.
gonna be? And one thing I'll just say to you, Mike, is that he's been doing a lot of work in the office, in the planning board, and et cetera, but now they're doing more work on the site. They're doing daily, weekly work on the site, so I can understand how it's building up a little bit more than it may have
Right.
been over the years,
I
but
mean,
we still have to.
I
understand
know
what's
he's doing great work.
Yeah.
I understand that, but
This is.
he knew going forward that his job would be more involved.
Sure.
And he should have told us, listen, as it work progresses, my job, and it's gonna be more money. You know, we should have been,
agreed,
Yeah, well-
but the document in 2019, was that for just a certain part of the job or for the full contract completion of the project?
We'd have to see that
So
contract.
because that's what the figures to me seems like it was based on for the budget for this project. And if that changed, then we need to know why. And I know he's doing additional work, but was this work included in the original contract?
So Katie, we're gonna charge you with a couple of things like this, to get some kind of idea of where these extra dollars are being charged against or what they're being used for. What
why
line
don't we
item
just
kind
put
of
a
thing?
meeting with him?
Yeah.
We can do that. If you guys wanted to have a meeting, I'm game.
No, so he can explain it to us,
I'm
you know?
happy to do that.
Yeah, I'm certainly not qualified to be the middleman on that conversation.
Okay, does somebody have,
In an executive session.
Yeah,
we could
Yeah.
certainly do that in executive, but I guess what we need to do is, it's a little late now, but does anybody have time next week to do it? You wanna have a meeting? It's close to a lot of holidays next week and the following.
I don't. But you know, there's a,
Well, I think it's important for us all to be there. I don't wanna exclude anybody because of the holiday. So,
when does he want this contract by?
well, Lynn said via email today that she would like us to approve the contract pending her review of it. That's kind of tough for us with this kind of money we're talking about. This is a lot of money all of a sudden here. We weren't
Maybe he
expecting
can
that.
come in on January 2nd,
you know,
and have an
We
executive
can either
session
do it
then.
on the second or, yeah, someday like that, if he's able to wait until the end of the year.
But, I mean, he's
Yeah,
been
yeah.
working without a
he's
contract
gonna have
now
to
for
wait at
years.
this
it
point.
Yeah,
feels
another
like.
2 weeks.
So why don't we
I
do
don't
that?
think it's urgent.
Why don't we set up a meeting with him,
Okay,
but
you wanna do the second? We're gonna be
Yeah,
there.
we
Well,
wanna-
unfortunately, the second is, I mean, Charlie and I can miss the fire department cleanup and maybe the meeting, but.
well, I think the organizational meeting is it's gonna be less than an hour. right?
Probably, but,
So
yeah,
if
well,
we start at 5:30 and go right into him at 6:30, he can explain
We
himself
had-
in a half hour.
we
no?
had scheduled initially 6 o'clock to meet.
Yeah,
Is anybody okay with 5:30? Is it
It's
okay,
okay with me.
Charlie?
Okay.
that's fine.
All right, so let's revise that for 5:30
for the organizational meeting,
For the
and
org
then
meeting.
6:30 with
and see if we can get,
JMC.
we'll see if we can get Joe
Right.
or
Yeah.
a rep to
I'm
come
happy
here.
to reach out to him. See.
Would you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and just keep us informed of any communications that you have going back and forth. You know, regarding this monies. That's quite a wake up call.
Yeah, we need complete justification.
Yeah. And there's another change authorization from Tectonic. I'm not real sure what this one's about. Do you have a familiarity with the Tectonic thing? We'll just have to talk to him about this. We can do it on a phone call. or something.
Third-party inspectors.
And these are needed. They're asking for 5,000 for labor and expenses, time and expenses. I think it's because the original site engineer, site environmental engineer, I think he retired. So now, I think it was JMC, I could be wrong about that, is suggesting that the engineers from Tectonic come in and do the work that this other engineer had retired and is not doing any longer. So I think that's what it is, but let's get clarity from Joe on this before we do anything, but it's apparently a change order for their services. And they're a big outfit. I mean, I've heard of them for many, many years in business.
You know, Joe was also working on the lighting that was gonna be on the outside of the building as
He's done a
well.
lot of work on that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so I think, Katie, if you can communicate with JMC and in brief terms, just let them know we're unhappy with a surprise of this magnitude.
Sure.
It's just something we can't justify right now. We're
Understood.
gonna have to figure out,
I'm taking me for a meeting on the second.
yeah. Okay,
At 6:30, is that right?
yeah, right. Okay, is there any email or anything from the public? Nothing, okay.
And I have one correction. The next OACM is actually January 13th,
Yes,
because Kevin switched it to the second Monday. not the
Yeah.
sixth.
it was always the second Monday.
No, I know, I put the sixth
Oh.
in it.
So it's January,
13th.
13.
So I have the organizational on 1/2 at 5:30, the project special meeting for OACM, January 13th, and then the next regular is January 16th. As at this moment.
All right, I see it on there. I'm sorry.
okay. We have a couple of things that I think we need to discuss, and I'd like to do that in executive session.
Can I ask what's being discussed?
One of the things is that your comments about, well, you would want to talk about some stuff here, but I'd prefer to do that in executive session. And we have a correspondence that we'd like to take offline and talk about that in executive session.
I think some things need to be said, not in executive session.
Okay, well, I'd like to have a motion to go into executive session to discuss some of these, and when we come out, we can continue that conversation. If we so
Motion to
need.
go into executive session.
Okay, any second on that, please?
I'll second
All
that.
right, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Is it personnel? I mean, how are you gonna, what is the purpose
It's
of it?
personnel and it's project related, I guess, in some of the,
Contract?
maybe personnel mostly.
Now
Okay, so you ladies can stay or leave at your,
I'm gonna just stop it.